Greetings, Exiles. BullShifter here, and we are live with our very first Twitch stream. So today's going to be kind of casual, to be honest. I'm just going to kind of go through and just do a little bit of mapping here and there, kind of get a test to see, or just kind of a feel for how streaming on Twitch is, just because for those of you who have followed on YouTube, so far we've just been primarily streaming there, so just kind of want to get a feel for things, more of like a test run than anything else. Obviously, as always in the chat, feel free to ask any questions and I will do my best to answer as we're playing. So let's see here, we'll go ahead and we've got a few tier 8s, we've only got one tier 9 left, so let's go ahead and run a tier 8. We've got quite a few canal maps left, so we'll go ahead with one of those. I'm probably going to save my cartographer's chisels for just higher tiered maps. And I don't necessarily want to use all my elk orbs right now either, so I don't like that modifier. Temporal chains is a killer for this build just because it relies a lot on movement. So we're going to go ahead and just get new modifiers on that. Ranged monsters, yep, that's fine. And I just used an Orb of Chance just because I've already gained the bonus for this map, so I'm not too concerned with that. Just kind of want to boost the rarity on here just so that way I just have a better chance of getting some better items. Hey man, how's it going? The video quality's locked. I may have to look into that. Oh, I bet it's because I have buffering disabled. Oh, by the way, since you're in here, someone had actually brought this to my attention in the chat. Well, not in the chat, but in the comment section of YouTube. And I guess there is actually a way for you to change which region you're in right from the start screen. I believe if you go into options on the start screen when you're playing, you should actually be able to change what server you're on. Couple of elite enemies here. Switch to the overhead map here, make things a little easier. A tier 6 map. Huh, that's odd. Is it locked on 1080p? It won't let you switch to a different resolution setting? That's something I may have to look into after tonight. Worst case scenario, I do have all these set to record. The plan is for right now to just go ahead and just directly upload them right to YouTube. And then from there, I'm going to go ahead and actually kind of edit over time. Seeing if I can actually fix this here. Hey man, sorry about that. I'll look into it after the stream and see if there's any settings I can change that'll hopefully let you just view it in a lower resolution. But yeah, I'll definitely make sure to upload tonight's stream to YouTube. Like I said, it'll be a shorter stream tonight anyways. Probably only run for about an hour or so, just to kind of get a feel for how I'm going to have my setup here on Twitch. Just because with my video capture card, there's some latency stuff that's kind of annoying, so I actually have to kind of, you know, play on my, normal screen while actually viewing the stream on another. Oh, yikes. So these are actually a little risky to run while you're mapping and trying to actually level up in like mid-tier maps and on, just because the enemy density can kind of overwhelm you if you're not running a tankier build. This build is a bit squishy. I did end up sacrificing a little bit of damage to get some energy shield leech and some life leech to kind of help me out with that. But at the same time, I mean, I'm obviously killing stuff a little bit slower than I was before I added those gems in. But it's just kind of nice because since we've selected that node in Ascendancy so that we disregard any sort of mana cost for movement skills. Oh, I didn't realize we already gotten all of them. It makes it so I can kind of zip around the map, basically dodge out for a few seconds, get my shield and my health back, and then come right back in swinging. Divination card, so that wasn't too bad of a run. So honestly, with these being ranged enemies, they do seem a little squishier. So that kind of helps out too. I can't really even tell the difference between the damage I was doing before and the damage I'm doing now. See, so like when I dip out, because my energy shield is attached to my winter orb, just because it does less base damage than what my ice spear does. And then my ice spear is actually my health regen, because both basically go ahead and regenerate my health and energy shield almost instantly as soon as I start hitting something. It's like if we should throw a, yeah, right there, it healed us completely. We could be at next to no health, throw one of those, dip out, and within a couple of seconds be at full health again. God, I wish we always moved this fast. And we got a yellow map up here, it looks like. I must have just missed picking that up earlier. I mean, and in these mid-tiers, our Winter Orb's still doing plenty of damage to actually mow through stuff rather quickly. So the damage we sacrificed isn't too detrimental, and we can make up for it in other places. I'd really like to get a Frostferno helmet, because then I could actually get rid of the Cold the Fire gem. But right now the energy shield regen is kind of more important for us. And like you can see here, we can kind of just zip through things. It's pretty much little to no regard. I do still have health potions and a mana potion equipped though. Even though our build kind of takes care of a lot of that for us, it's kind of there. It's just an extra insurance policy. And we'll actually be periodically seeing gems level up just because I had actually just switched those out this morning. I picked up ones with a little bit of quality added onto them, so that way they'd actually add a bit to my damage output. You can always use gem cutters prisms to go ahead and up the quality of a gem also, but it's nice to have a little bit of a base established, so that way you don't have to spend 20 of them. Yeah, it looks like we're going to make relatively quick work of this map. So far with this character, the highest tier I've run is a tier 11, which isn't too bad, considering I haven't had much time to map a whole lot with this character. Never actually run a Winter Orb build before this either. Just given the constraints of item availability on PS4, I've had to be a bit creative with this build in order to actually make it work. Just because a couple of the uniques that you know, really make this build shine just aren't realistic to get. Like bell timbers are just far too expensive because there just aren't very many out on the market. And Frost Furno is kind of the same ordeal. There just aren't many on the market, so the prices are just kind of high. And the only way to get a Frost Furno is through a prophecy. And prophecy-specific items aren't necessarily easy to come by, especially when the prophecy doesn't drop very often. There's like 47 monsters here, so we've almost run this whole map. There's probably a majority of them right down here. That's probably that boat up in the corner. But I think we already hit the boss. I think that bird-type creature from the main game was actually our boss for this map. Yep, I don't see any entryways. So it was relatively painless. And it's not necessarily a bad idea for us to be running kind of some mid-tier maps when we're trying to level, just because dying is so detrimental to trying to level up. So there's definitely worse strategies we could be going by. It'll take you a bit longer, but like when I was running like tier 10, tier 11s earlier, if I eliminated every enemy out of those and then didn't die, I figure I was gaining, I think it was about 18% experience towards my next level. Which if you die once, you lose 10%, so I mean, all it takes is for you to die twice in the same map, and essentially you may as well not even run the map, unfortunately. You know, you'll obviously still get your currency and all of your drops, but at this point in the game, you're kind of looking to level. I mean, which is why there's a trophy on PlayStation to hit level 90. And unfortunately, with some of the lag spikes and rubber banding, it makes leveling that much harder. So we've gone ahead and finished that off. Let's see what other level 8 maps we've got left. We can go to the orchard. We'll do the same thing. We'll just use an Orb of Chance. Extra lightning damage. Unfortunately, lightning damage is the only one that I don't have a full 75% resist to. It's sitting at, I believe, 71, but it's still totally fine. So go ahead and throw this into the map device. And we'll go rock the orchard. Nice, so we've actually got a, let's see, is it Shaper or Elder? We'll be able to tell by the, if we see tentacles, or, yep, tentacles. So this is actually an Elder influenced map. Get our Stone Golem back up. He'll give us some life regeneration. And even with us kind of nerfing our damage of Winter Orb here, it's still a very powerful attack, so still going quite strong for us. And then if you ever want to see, for those of you who may not know or really pay attention to it, if you ever want to see how far away you are from your next level, just because that's kind of our focus at this point, you can hold your left stick in and you can see your actual XP that you're required, the average XP you're gaining per hour, and then your percentage towards your next level. So we're at 81% right now. It'll probably take us 2 maps without dying to actually get to level 86. Unfortunately, with the amount of time that's left, I don't think we're going to be able to catch up to the top 5 to get that reward that I had mentioned in my Flashback League video. Last I had checked, in order to get into the top 5, you're looking at around level 96 or so. Not impossible, but highly improbable. We'd have to have a lot of playtime in, and we'd essentially have to not die during any of that time. So, a unique shield. Picked up a Vol Regalia, I believe, on accident there. But that's fine. I usually try and collect between 2 to 3 full sets when I can, to go ahead and trade those in for Regal Orbs at this point, because all the items that drop here should be above level 75. It's monster level 75 on this map, which means the items that drop should actually be a couple levels higher than that. So if we hover over this, hit the left stick in, yeah, item level 75. So a full set of those items would yield us a Regal Orb. 2 Regal Orbs, actually, if we don't identify them. And for anyone who's not familiar with kind of my strategies on that, I do have a YouTube video for creating Regal and Chaos Orbs. So you can see there, we actually almost got ourselves in a little bit of trouble. But like I'd mentioned earlier, we just kind of back out for just a couple of seconds, and we're absolutely fine. Like, our shield and life come back in pretty much next to no time. So it looks like Zana is in this map, not just for the synthesis content, but for an extra map. And this is actually a great way for us to continue to fill out our atlas. And this will actually probably make it so that we can hit level 86 within this map. Because we're basically going to be running 2 maps here. We'll clear out this area before anything else, though. Tier 6 map, unfortunately. So let's see. Oh, it's all level 8 except for Flooded Mine. So here I like to kind of check my atlas. Just to see if I can actually run a map that I possibly haven't run quite yet. I'm not extremely familiar with the exact layout here. But it looks like Flooded Mine may potentially be one that we haven't run yet. And either way, the rest of these are all, well, I guess they actually are all gold maps except for this one. So this one actually wouldn't even give us the Atlas bonus anyways. So the other thing we'll want to look at is the actual modifiers to make sure it's something that our build can actually run in the first place. So totems, rare monsters, avoid elemental ailments, increase monster damage, and nemesis mod. That's stuff that we can all easily run, so we will go ahead and run that one.
This connection appears to be inherently unstable.
This might be timed. I should have paid attention to that also. It's because a lot of these maps have special stipulations, like you'll only be able to enter the map once. That'll be notated by a single portal, though. Yeah, so there's a timer. There's usually 2 ways that these are done. It'll either be by defeating enemies or hitting these stones. So we hit that stone and it actually adds more time. And these are all notated by the little red targets on the overhead map that you can see there. Let's go ahead and clear this area out a little bit. So I do want to hit this later. Yeah, that could potentially yield some pretty good items. But since we're timed here, I'm more or less going to focus on us getting through, gaining more time, finishing the requirements of the map, and then we'll come back for a lot of this stuff. So it doesn't look like there's anything over through there. We do want to focus on keeping our winter orb up as much as possible. So that way we're still continuously doing damage as we move through. Pretty hard lag right there. That's what I was referring to earlier too. It makes it much harder to survive when you're lagging through, and we lag died right there. So that sucks. So we just lost 10% of our experience, which is going to make it a lot more difficult to level up between this map and the next. We can go back in the map, though, because it wasn't a single portal map. The only problem here is our timer is still counting down while we're doing this. So yeah, I'm doubting we're going to be able to hit in 10 seconds. Yep, So we failed that one. But that's just the mission itself that we failed. We can still finish the map. This guy's a savage. We are also savages. Oh, we didn't have our buffs up either. So we're actually dealing a lot less damage than we should have been right there. So that death's unfortunate. It kind of screwed us up from completing the actual mission itself. And obviously that XP loss sucks. We're at 82% now. Means we would have been at 92%. Potentially. Actually, I should double check. I'm not 100% sure if it's actually... Might as well go back to the beginning, finish that other unique strongbox. I'm not sure if it's 10% of your current XP that you're at, or like a full 10 XP of the total XP you need to gain. I need to double check that, just to make sure I'm not telling you wrong one way or the other. Probably get some pretty decently strong enemies coming out of here. So those big red circles, as long as you kind of move out of the way of those as they're, before they explode, you won't really take any damage from them. But if you're inside them when they blow up, you'll take some pretty massive damage. As we just did, because I cornered myself. Well, this will be a good opportunity for us to see what XP we're at, I suppose. 73, so yeah, it's 10 off the top. So now we definitely will not be hitting level 86 by the end of these two maps. Let's see, it's getting 27% of our experience through this map and the one that we were already in. I just had to play this a little smarter, to be honest. If I'd have kept backing up as opposed to moving forward right there, I'd have been fine. But I got stuck on that wall there and just kind of screwed myself over. Got a gold map, that's nice. I figured we'd get a unique from that. So not too bad. We're going to skip all those items though. I was going to say that elite should be over here. Yep, and that's all we needed to do right there. I just got a little overzealous. Decided to push him when we should have just kind of kept backing up and waiting for him to come in. Yeah, and I'm admittedly still adjusting to this build a bit, which is kind of the disadvantage to building 3 characters within 1 league. I suppose technically 2 leagues, because Flashback is slightly different than Synthesis. And this league's actually a little harder to level up in the later levels too, just because the monster density is so much higher because of the additional modifiers. And it can potentially help you level up a bit faster when it comes to experience, but your risk of dying is also much higher. I actually walked into an arena area earlier and was greeted by a couple of Harbingers as soon as I walked through the gates. So if I wouldn't have been ready for that, that would have been pretty much an instant death if I wouldn't have hit my movement skill right away. But for the most part, as long as I'm smart with my movement on this build, I can usually get out of any bad situation. You've seen me make a couple of bad decisions so far. It's definitely not a lazy build, that's for sure. You do have to use movement and positioning to your advantage. We also haven't been using our curses. As long as I don't make any big mistakes here, we should be able to get through the rest of this map without dying.
Just in time.
Looks like we can run an incursion here. There's a breach over there as well. Breaches are going to be a great way to practice for the next league also, because the next league is kind of just, from the way it seems, it sounds like a modified version of breach. Going to the banquet hall, which is already unlocked in different areas, but if we can hit that upper corner to create an opening through that cloister. Some desecrated ground there.
Let's go. Hello.
So let's look at the temple one more time. So I want to hit the upper left-hand corner of the map and just hope that we get one of the green keys here. Yeah, it's looking like the key is going to be the issue. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Oh, we got a unique out of it at least. Yeah, it would have been really nice to open up this path to this, That's odd. I don't think that's the way the connections looked before. So maybe we actually should have been... Oh no, we were in here. Yeah, if we could have connected here, then we would have just been looking to get one for the jeweler's workshop to open up the apex. But that's fine. That's actually a fresh temple for me, because I just finished doing a temple run earlier today. So we'll have 10 more opportunities to open that up completely.
Just in time. Ah, there you are. Ready to read.
Anti-chamber, so
The more you
we
kill,
can open a pathway to the guardhouse, but it doesn't really matter.
so we get to finding the temple in the present day.
I think we'll go for the guy to the right and see if we can get some strong boxes. Ooh. Someone's hitting us hard with chaos damage. So we're actually not even going to get to him because I'm going to cower over here and try to not get killed by this chaos damage. So, that was pretty much a wash. That's kind of odd how you just teleport from there to here.
Ah, there you are. Ready to revisit the past.
And the workshop.
The more you kill, the more you
So we were literally just here.
the closer we get to finding the temple in the present day. Have a look at where you're going.
So it's actually going to be the lower left-hand corner.
Hello.
I need to pay attention to some of the enemies that are coming by. So we'll get our winter orb going this time before we actually head in.
Hello. Let's go.
These guys. So we don't have a nasty surprise waiting for us when we get out. Oh, we got a stone of passage, awesome. So there we just kind of zip through. See, that's a good example of our gems actually working the way that we want them to. Because I was really hurting on health there, but we hit enough people to the point where I was able to just kind of move out of the way for a few seconds and then get all of that health right back. So that was actually pretty nice. And we went ahead and opened up that passageway. So yeah, now if we get into that jeweler's workshop for one of these incursions, we'll have an opportunity to open up the apex. So we're actually sitting pretty well there. So we're not going to be able to clear out that other side without activating the breach. That's fine. We'll just work our way to the right. At higher levels, I kind of like to I like to sit on the outside here for two reasons. One, just in case any clasped hands, which are essentially chests, end up appearing. And two, it gives us an open area to just kind of bail out if we get overwhelmed. Don't have a lot of stuff spawning by us over there, unfortunately. I hate these so much. This guy's trying to cheese us from across the way. He's acting like a human being. Trying to cheese him right back. So in all reality, he was probably this guy that's attacking us from across the way, probably the one that we were supposed to kill within the time limit, which obviously we came nowhere near doing. Let's just get up close and finish this guy off. There we go, and he only dropped us a sash. So he actually dropped more loot, but I have my loot filter set to strict now. Just because I was seeing way too much loot drop all the time, so setting that to strict kind of brought that down to where I'm not tempted to pick up loot that's just not going to have any use for me. So we have Zana here, can enter the fractured memory. And if we hit the very corner here, I can actually charge up my winter orb before I actually start the stabilizer.
The ship rocks to and fro. The other exiles exchange glances as the guard struggles to regain his footing. Then, we hit the rocks.
Clear some of these enemies and activate the stabilizer there. Now we should have a somewhat clearer path to hit the other three. Well, other two.
When I came to, I'm alone on a tiny island. Within there on a rock island, I can't see any other land. Even the waycast would have been better than this.
The monster density in this one is pretty insane. Some of these enemies just hit like a truck. Now we could hit start to just speed up the collapse, but kind of hope we can kill some extra enemies here. Make it a bit more realistic for us to level up a bit sooner. So we're actually up to 91%, so And we haven't exited out of this bonus map yet. So it actually is possible that we might be able to hit level 86 within that original map that we came in on. I probably don't need to keep collecting belts at this point. 7% spell damage, that's a terrible base. These will identify quick. I'm trying to get ones that have 3 of those brown modifiers, so I have a better chance of synthesizing into one that has 3. But I haven't had a whole lot of luck here. I think the best way to get those is actually as one of the reward nodes inside the Nexus itself. So we may not have any luck just finding them pretty much out here in the wild. So identifying these strong boxes is something I've been trying to get in the habit of doing more often, just because you can severely get penalized if you don't, especially if it tells you like it's going to freeze you upon opening and you're not aware of the fact that it's going to do that. Then you're not ready to hit a vial to make sure that you're immune to freeze. And the whole pack will come down on you and essentially wipe you out and you'll die. There's a few other ones like Explosion, or it's nice to know if there's going to be a rogue Exile there. Just because they're those like bronzish gold colored enemies, the elites, that'll, you know, really do a lot of damage if you're unaware that they're there. This one's not too bad though, it's just going to cast Lightning Storm, get stuck on the rock. That could have been bad. I didn't realize we had an elite. So just kind of back up as needed. I do not like these totems. We don't have a way to like curl around either, unfortunately. So what we may do here, let's get our stone golem back up. That was not smart on my part. I shouldn't have charged in there. I thought we could kind of curve around, but all I ended up doing was pinning myself back on that far back wall, and there was too much electricity for me to really see what was going on. So we're basically going to have to lure him out of there. We don't really have the health to go ahead and just face tank him. Did it spawn us in a different part of the map? Sure seems like it did. Oh, no, dead end. 40 monsters. So they're probably all leading up to that area that we just died in, and just beyond that same area. So like I said, this build does rely a lot on movement, so if you find yourself in a bad spot like we did, it can be really detrimental to what you're trying to do. Down to 82%, so yeah, I don't like our chances for leveling up anymore. We may end up dying right here again, too. God, that is such an annoying attack. I think we finished him off there. Thank God. That was a really annoying Exile. Yikes. We're Definitely having to bail a lot more than I'd like. One thing that does help us out here, and I'll show you how these guys are dying so quickly, like as we're attacking. So this item in particular gives me Culling Strike. So once our enemies are below 10% health, we actually finish them off automatically with our attacks. Wow. I did not realize there were that many clustered up in there. So I just need to pay more attention right now. This is actually the most times I think I've ever died in a map. Perfect start to our Twitch streams. We can just turn this one into a death highlight video. Mission complete. I don't know, mission we completed. It might be referring to us going through all of the, all 3 incursions for Alva. So at this point I just more or less want to finish this map off. At 72%, there's no way we're gonna end up leveling up. I think we're actually at less XP than we started. I think that's annoying, is that shield that they're all hiding behind. The fact that we're being slowed down, like this is just, they're stacking up a bunch of things that we're just not very strong against. Last thing left for them to do is pretty much reflect damage back at us. The cycle would be complete. So we're getting slowed down, which kills our movement build. They're using electricity, which is the one thing I don't have full resists against. There we go. Wow, all that for nothing. The completionist in me really screwed us over there. So he wasn't too bad. And there we go. So we finished that off. Got some loot, but we died way too many times. Lost way too much experience. I just made too many mistakes there. Mission failed. It felt like a fail. Yeah, aside from a couple items that are just too expensive for me to get for this character right now, the biggest things I'd like to do, aside from that, is probably unlock a few more jewel slots in my passive tree. And to be honest, since I kind of rushed through the main campaign with this character, I can probably go back and do some side missions and gain some more passive skill points that'll make that realistic. So getting a few jewel spots. Don't think there's a lot of health nodes left on the tree that I haven't already grabbed that are actually, you know, within a reasonable amount of spots to actually get. The other thing would be getting extremely lucky and getting a 6-link chest piece that actually has stats. Just because right now I'm using a Tabula Rasa, which a lot of people do use, so it's not uncommon. But it would definitely help the build out if we could get a 6-link that actually has stats attached to it. Honestly, at this point in the season, though, I'm just kind of having fun with this character more than anything else. I've done about everything that I can plan on doing this this league, and I'm really just kind of experimenting to get ready for the next league. Speaking of the next league, though, for anyone who hasn't checked out my video on the top 5 things that you need to do before the next league starts, I would definitely go ahead and check that out, just so that way you're kind of prepared and ready to roll once the new league does come out. From everything I've seen online, I believe this league ends on the 4th. So there is still plenty of time to go through and complete anything you may have kind of left lingering around. But definitely leave yourself a bit of time to get everything done. All in all, I don't think Synthesis was terrible. I had fun with the league. The mechanics were a bit more complicated in the beginning than what they ended up being after they had kind of patched it and fixed a few things and made things a bit more straightforward. But I do think that the next league is going to be head and shoulders above this league. Just from, you know, what they've teased so far, Legion seems like it's going to be a ton of fun. Like a lot of people are saying, it feels like Breach 2.0. Collapse already came in on us. We literally got nothing. That's funny. Let's see. So we'll probably have to head towards the northwest area here. Yeah, just keep pushing through. Alright, so we got an Elder item there.
I need more pockets.
Oh, we need more pockets. Let's make some pocket space. Yep, that's a garbage item. We don't need that. So we're actually going to be fighting a couple of the justice-looking things from the labyrinth here. Which is actually a boss fight I enjoy. I kind of like this one. And that went quickly. That's it. So as much as we struggled in the little extra dungeon, we pretty much did the opposite with the final boss fight here. I just kind of navigated incorrectly, which is what happened in the other dungeon. Alright, so that's one more down. So I think at this point it's been kind of a slow night with everything, so I think I'll go ahead and just kind of call it a night for the stream. Like I said, I more or less just wanted to experiment, kind of see what I have to change with the actual layout and format of the stream, doing it this way on the video card. So hope you guys enjoy. I'll be uploading this to YouTube, so anyone who's not watching this at the time of recording, hope you learned a few things just from me kind of going through a couple maps and explaining a few of the random mechanics. Hopefully everyone's really excited for Legion League. It is right around the corner, creeping up on us, and I honestly couldn't be more excited. I think for PlayStation 4 players, if you enjoyed Synthesis, I think Legion is going to blow you away. I think it's going to bring in even more players than we have now. I think Synthesis was kind of a difficult league to start on, just because of the fact that while the mechanics are kind of fun, they're also really convoluted, and from the way Legion sounds, it's going to be a lot more straightforward, so I think it's going to be a lot more appealing to new players coming in. And yeah, I think it's going to push the game's popularity even further and help us grow that PlayStation 4 player base. So again, thanks for watching. Definitely appreciate it. I will see you all again on Wednesday at the same time. Just keep in mind that I am doing these live streams on Twitch now and not on YouTube. I'm re-uploading them later on. So if you do want to catch these at the time of recording, check me out on my Twitch channel, the BullShifter, all one word. It's in the description below of all my videos and in my page description on YouTube. And I look forward to seeing you here. Until next time, may the RNG be with you. Always.